Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was once again Everything Everywhere All at Once, making $3.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $41 million and a worldwide total of $45 million. So not only did this movie manage to stay in the top 5 for the second week in a row, but it also had the best hold out of any of the previous films that were in the top 5 last weekend, as it only dipped 36%, which is a very solid hold, especially since there was another multiversal movie that hit theaters this weekend. More on that later. But even with that, it was not only still able to have a very strong hold, but also really maintain that core audience. It's really been doing a fantastic job for itself. It's about to double its budget worldwide, and given how strong word of mouth has been for this movie and how strong its legs have been for the past several weeks, I see no reason why it doesn't even get to that $50 million mark domestically. It's been doing very good for itself against its $25 million budget. It's really found its audience, and that audience is encouraging others to go check it out, which is very good for this movie. Once again, makes me very happy to see something like this just come out of nowhere and defeat all expectations and just really do well for itself and become a modest hit at the box office. Not much more else I can say here except job well done. I look forward to seeing where it goes from here. Will it continue to last in the top 5? I don't know, but as far as I can tell, this movie is doing very well and it's about to become a certified hit. Number 4 was Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, making $4.2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $86 million and a worldwide total of $365 million. So, given where it's at, I could see this movie hitting $90 million domestically and even maybe $375 million worldwide, which are milestones for sure. Those are positive insights into this film's future. Well, that's all the positive things I could say about this movie. As I've said many times before, this film has been just such a huge disappointment financially. It has not done anything really to help itself at all. Word of mouth has not really done this movie any favors, and many people just really lost interest in this whole prequel franchise, if you will, for Fantastic Beasts. It still has yet to even double its $200 million budget, which is concerning, and I even still don't think it's gonna be able to double that worldwide. It might get close, and that's not really saying something, and it might not even get to the $100 million mark domestically. Again, it might get close, but that's still not going to help this movie at all. Just really another big disappointment, and now it's really starting to hurt this movie right now. I know it's already been beaten down, but the summer movie season is already here, and the competition is fierce and ferocious and on the horizon, and those films are definitely going to damper what little success this movie already had. So, yep, another weekend Fantastic Beasts is on the top 5, and another weekend I get to talk about how disappointing it did at the box office. Number 3 was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, making $6 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $169 million and a worldwide total of $348 million. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 continues to hold well. I predicted last weekend that we might see a turning point where it would start to lose interest maybe and start slowly but surely declining. Well, I was clearly wrong about that, and I'm glad to be wrong about that, because I really should have been focusing more on the family film aspect, I apologize, of this movie than the blockbuster aspect, because at its core this film is a family film, and they have been really putting their foot down in terms of the box office, especially in the post-theater closure era where they have shown that they can really have strong legs, and this film is no different. It has been doing incredibly well for the past couple weekends, and this puts its domestic total just $30 million away away from $200 million domestically. I gotta be honest, even though I like being optimistic, I don't think it's going to get to that total. It just seems so close yet so far, a bit out of the reach at the moment. It's really going to need, like, no pun intended, but a boom in terms of attendance and box office success in the coming weeks to even get close to that total. But even if so, this movie has just exceeded expectations. It has become one of the biggest films of the year already. It's the biggest video game movie of all time domestically. Worldwide, however, I believe last week when we were discussing this, it was at number 7. Well, now it's at number 6. It is roughly 3 to 4 million away from surpassing the Angry Birds movie's 352 million worldwide total to enter the top 5 highest grossing films based off of a video game, which is exceptional. Even if it manages to even get into that top 5 club, I think that would be really exceptional. And also in terms of worldwide, this puts it just roughly 50 million away from 400 million worldwide. Now, I see this more optimistically than 200 million domestically because, as I said many times before when talking about this movie, I believe this film has not yet released in Japan. In fact, it doesn't come out in Japan until August. So if you live in Japan, boy, do I feel sorry for you, especially if you're a Sonic fan or if you're interested in this movie. But when it inevitably does release in Japan, I think that's really going to boost these numbers internationally and worldwide to get it close or even surpass that total, as I do think anticipation is high over there, especially once again considering they have to wait so long. So yeah, it's another solid weekend for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not much more else I can add there. We'll see if it can enter the top 5 highest grossing video game movies of all time worldwide next week, but as for right now, it's a huge hit. It already more than doubled its $90 to $110 million budget, and it's just all around a certified success. Number 2 was The Bad Guys, making $9.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $57 million and a worldwide total of $148 million. So while this movie didn't have the best hold this weekend, as that spot goes to Everything Everywhere All at Once, which means it wasn't the film the least affected by the film at the number 1 spot, which we'll get to in a moment, this film continues to do very well. It fell 41%, which is definitely not a bad hold in the slightest, and has surpassed 50 million domestically, which is very strong to say the least. And in terms of the previous DreamWorks films, well, obviously it was able to surpass Spirit Untamed, but it was also recently able to surpass The Boss Baby Family Business, and just sits not only 1 million away from The Croods A New Age domestically, but also around 3 to 2 million away from Abominable's entire domestic run of 60 million, which it's for sure gonna surpass probably by next weekend, which would definitely make this film the biggest DreamWorks film to come out since How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, which is fantastic. While it's definitely not doing those numbers for sure, this is still a very solid total and a good sign for things to come in the future, as this film is starting to really resonate with people more than their most latest films that they've put out recently, which is very spot on. Though granted, The Croods A New Age was released way earlier in the pandemic, and Spirit Untamed was just not a huge hit at the box office due to poor marketing. But still, this movie continues to do very well. It is a family film, and it adds on to how family films are continuing to have a foot in the box office for sure. And worldwide, it is already surpassed or is about to surpass, well, not surpass, but double its entire budget of around 69 to 80 million dollars, which is fantastic. Makes me very happy, and I see more positive things to come with this movie, as once again there is not really much competition for this film until the Bob's Burgers movie and Lightyear, when they both come out at Memorial Day weekend and the middle of June. So yeah, overall the Bad Guys continues to do very well. I expect very good things in the near future, and I expect very long, well, not maybe a very long box office run, but certainly a decent run at the box office for sure. It's definitely going to enter the top 10 highest grossing films very soon, and I think it might even get to 85 million domestically overall, which is not a bad total in the slightest, especially for this movie. So yeah, good job, The Bad Guys and DreamWorks. You made a very good movie that is getting the credit and success it deserves. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, and that was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, opening with $187 million domestically and $430 million worldwide. So I don't know about you, but for me personally, this is a pretty big opening. But let's really break it down. First off, in terms of opening weekends for this year, this is obviously the biggest opening weekend of the year, topping the Batman's 134 million opening from March. And in terms of post-theater closure era, this is the second biggest opening weekend of this era, once again topping the Batman, but also sitting behind Spider-Man No Way Home, which is definitely going to remain number one for a long time. And this is already the second biggest movie of the year, topping Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and sitting behind, well, the Batman. And given where it's at right now, and judging by how Marvel movies have done in the past, I see no reason why it will not surpass the Batman by next week. Hell, for all we know, it might surpass it by tomorrow, if anything. But yeah, this is a very solid opening weekend. It's definitely going to surpass 200 million by next weekend and 500 million worldwide by next weekend as well, or once again tomorrow. It is at 430 million already, so you never know. And this is hands down going to be the biggest movie of the year for quite some time. Reviews were pretty good and audiences seem to really like it as of now, and we'll get to that in a bit. But as far as I'm concerned right now, I think this movie is going to be at the top of the box office for quite some time. It will be interesting to see what other movie will be able to dethrone it or even come close to it. Will it be Jurassic World, Thor, The Minions, Lightyear, hell, Bob's Burgers maybe? Who knows? But I see a lot of good things for this film. It generated a huge amount of buzz and huge anticipation for it, thanks to the events of, well, No Way Home, but also WandaVision and Loki triggering the whole multiverse idea into people's heads, and now there's a whole dang movie about it. However, something that is cause for concern is how audiences are reacting to it. As I said, audiences really liked it, which I feel like many of you were expecting me to say that audiences were loving it, as I'm sure the general public thought. And once again, while they did like it, they did not love it, as this was the second film in the entire MCU to get a B+ cinema score, second to the first Thor film, which that film was able to still do well, but it certainly wasn't really a huge hit compared to a lot of other films. So I'm very curious to see how word of mouth will spread about with this movie. Will it be like Shang-Chi, where it surpasses expectations, or will it be like Eternals, where it kind of falters a bit, as a B+ cinema score isn't really a good score to indicate where your movie will go. That's where you should get concerned, as I've discussed with cinema score many times before. But even if so, this film had such a huge opening weekend that I can't really see it not being successful. It's really going to have to take a drastic, catastrophic, I don't even know if I said that right, or it's gonna have to be like a cataclysmic sized event to prevent this movie from going anywhere that isn't successful. And right now it is already hugely successful given the lack of competition we will see for the rest of the month until presumably Memorial Day when Top Gun Maverick hits theaters. So this movie is definitely going to remain in the top of the charts for quite some time. And once again, while I do think word of mouth will be interesting to see how it helps and affects this film, once again, this film is already off to such a strong start that I don't really think it's going to hurt this film overall. So while things are concerning and cause for speculation a bit to see where it goes from here on forth, right now, judging from the opening weekend, this is a very solid opening and a good sign for where this movie might go. And those were the top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have one new major release, and that is Firestarter. This is a remake of a film from, I believe, the late 80s, starring Drew Barrymore, that was also based off of a beloved Stephen King book about a young little girl who discovers she can shoot fire out of her hands, basically. And obviously, this movie's not going to open to number 1 because Doctor Strange is out, but I gotta be honest, I'm not sure if this movie's really going to do all that well because, simply put it, the marketing has been very lackluster in the slightest. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely seen promotion for it here and there has been slight, and I cannot put any more emphasis on the word slight, buzz I've seen on this movie, but it's not enough for me to convince myself that this movie could exceed expectations because that buzz is so small and the marketing has been so very little that I'm not sure if this movie's really going to do all that well. Add on to the fact that this movie is yet another film from Universal that will be doing a hybrid release where it'll be released in theaters and on Peacock the same day, following the Boss Baby Family Business, Halloween Kills, and Marry Me. I definitely don't think it's going to be a Halloween Kills situation, but hey, you never know. This movie could manage to exceed expectations. I've been wrong plenty of times on this show before, but as for right now, I'm keeping my expectations for how well this movie will do very low. But we'll see how well this movie does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.